Hello, everyone. Welcome to another live. I would say another week's live, but I think it's been about 3 weeks since I've gone live on the channel over on Facebook. So excited to be back. Hopefully, I got a few people join tonight. I was doing these weeklies. Life's got a bit busy. The channel's got a bit busy, but I want to get back into some type of routine with them. I'll talk about that kind of stuff as we go on. So do appreciate that anyone that's joining, whether it's your first time being here or whether you've gone into, I think we're up to episode 25, so a quarter of a century the way through these lives. So we've definitely had some interesting discussions, and I love doing these lives because it allows me to jump in depth and have conversations with people. So it's all well and good to answer questions that come through the other YouTube videos, but the lives are my way of being able to have that genuine interaction with people. So if you are joining or you're watching us on a replay or whatever, but leave comments, especially if you're watching it live, leave a comment down below. And whether you're on Facebook, whether you're on YouTube, and I'll jump in, I'll answer those, and we can get that conversation going. It doesn't have to be, it can be tax related, accounting related. Tonight, as you see, I'm going to be talking about money motivation. So it can be personal finance related, crypto related, NFT related, whatever you want to chat about, let's do it. So for those that are new here or those that have been here a few times, we'll jump in. I'll chuck up our pre-show quiz. So I do this each week, or each time I go live as a bit of a fun way to get started. So tonight's question is right off the back of tax time finishing up. So tax time is normally kind of referred to as from July to October, end of October, because that's the due date if you lodge your own return, is how much in refunds did the ATO process this tax time? So we've got A is 10 billion, B is 21 billion, C is 2 billion, or D is 35 billion. So how much in refunds did the ATO process this year? So I can't remember. I've seen this stat on Facebook. I'll see if I can see I'll find the number of returns that they processed. It was a crazy amount. Let me just see if I can find that. I haven't got it with me here. Yes, here we go. So 9.8 million tax returns they processed in that tax time. So it's pretty crazy the number of returns that go through. I suppose when you think population of Australia, 25 million or so, whatever around, you think a lot of those returns do get processed in those first few months. So I can say that I definitely contributed to some of them. And yeah, so we've got one guest here, Chris. So 21 billion. So it's a lot of money when you think. And the ATO promoted this post. It was on Facebook of them saying, well, this is how much money has gone back into the community. So you think, any of these answers, which I'll get to the answer in a minute, but billions of dollars that goes back in those times. And you can see why people go, and a lot of people go and spend this money quite quickly. So it is obviously that hit of July, especially July and August, when a lot of this gets processed, is that stores would be happy because people come in and spend their tax check, especially like, I'd imagine places like Harvey Norman or JB Hi-Fi would get smashed at this time of the year with people coming in and spending their thing on a new lounge, new TV, new phone, new watches, Macs, whatever. People are spending that tax refund, or they're paying off something that they've already decided they were going to spend. So got another guess here of D, so 35 billion. So everyone's going for these high amounts, 21 and 35 billion. So it's just a lot of money when you're thinking about it. So I will jump into the answer. And so the answer is B, 21 billion. So congratulations to Chris who got that one right. Yeah, so $21 billion in refunds that were processed during that time. So it's a lot of money the ATO have had sitting there that technically wasn't theirs as far as people had overpaid in tax. So it's a whole nother conversation. Go and check out. I think it was one of the previous lives I've done on talking about, is a large tax refund actually a good thing? Because it's something you actually need to consider. But yeah, $21 billion was processed during tax time. So in those 4 months, it's a lot of refunds. Like I said, it is something to think about as a business owner. What kind of sales or stuff or promotions or marketing are you going to run during times when there's influxes of cash? So tax time's a key one. July or August. Are you going to run something there targeted at that, knowing that people potentially have just come into cash? And obviously then people run those sales again at Christmas time, which again, I'll get into Christmas-related content as we get further along, closer to Christmas time, hopefully in December. But yeah, it's an interesting thought to go, well, when is money flowing? And when you're running a business, it is something you should be thinking about. So that's let me clear that one off. So yeah, for those that we've got a comment here from Chris. So crazy dollars, won't be here for long, about to prep for my own life, but want to swing by and hang for a bit. So appreciate that. I will be on my live for a bit. Might even head over and give that a watch after I'm finished up. So for those that, once I finish up, head over to Chris's channel and give his live a watch. A few here we got. I don't suppose we can charge the ATO for their own general interest charge. So only seems fair. There is actually, I have seen it before, that the ATO will recognize interest the other way in some situations, but it is very rare. But in general, where that comes from is that if you owe the ATO money and it sits there for a while, in most situations, they will apply a general interest charge to that. So it's pretty much them going, well, you know what, if you owe us money like anyone, like any other loan, you're going to be paying us back interest. But we can't hit them up for money in your tax return. So that's the risk. If you get extra tax taken without, and you knowing you're going to get these large refunds, which I've seen some people get, consistently 7, 8, 9, 10 grand a year, and they think that's a great thing, but they could be having an extra $200 a week in their bank account. If they're an investor, they may be able to invest that money, or they may be able to put it off against a home loan or something and save themselves interest in those ways. So there's probably better uses for that money than it's sitting in the ATO account. So for those that are new here, we have a topic normally, and as I said, I will jump into then some questions after that that were asked. There was one question asked during the week. I was a bit late on putting my post up on Instagram. Long story, but if anyone else does have any questions, feel free to chuck them in the comments. So tonight's topic was money motivation. So talking about what motivates people when it comes to money. I talked about a similar thing about mindset regarding money the other week, and a lot of people had some interesting thoughts on that. So what I'm going to talk about is, people have different ideas of what motivates them in life, and money is obviously one of those things, but everyone has money. Everyone deals with money. It's just a part of life. So therefore, it is interesting diving into what motivates people when it comes to money. And I definitely have some exciting topics and some exciting things planned for the channel, going and diving into further depth about different approaches people take to building wealth and stuff. So stay tuned for that, because that's something I'm going to get into. But money motivations, as far as what motivates people, whether it's, I'm going to break this down to a few different topics. I've got 3 areas that I'm going to discuss. I'd really be interested to hear other people's thoughts on, what motivates them into money. And I'll jump into these topics to maybe make that a bit clear about what I mean by that. So the first thing that I think, and I talked about this on a recent video I did about what is FIRE, so financial independence, retire early. So go and check that one out if you want more in depth on that. But one of the big things I think motivates people with money is freedom, the freedom that money brings to them. And what I mean by this is the people that are motivated by freedom for money is that they understand that money can unlock freedom to do other things. So whether it's having that money to then be able to go and take time off from work, or whether it's to retire early, or whether it's to just provide that security for your children or things like that. It's that freedom to go, you know what, I've got the money behind me that I can take a risk, or I can relax, or I can do this. It's that freedom that people have, that security that when they do take a risk, they know that, okay, well, I've got a backup plan. I've got money there. So some people are highly motivated by that idea of achieving that financial independence side of money. So therefore, for them, it's not about getting rich or things like that. It's about putting and building a nest egg, whether that's through savings, emergency funds, through investing, might be paying off loans, paying off a car loan, a home loan, having those things, having that security that allows them the freedom to chase goals. So whether that's the freedom to go on holidays each year, the freedom to retire early, these different things that motivate people when it comes to freedom. And as y'all get through these couple different areas that I wanted to discuss, it doesn't mean that you have to be motivated by one of these. You're likely a hybrid of a lot of these things. So for me, the freedom that money can provide is important, because I do want to be able to chase other business goals. So within my business, obviously I'm building a business, but at the same time, there's some really in-depth things that I know are going to take a lot of time, some big projects that could be a 3 to 6 months and, close to full-time focus on that. So I want to build out that freedom where I've got freedom within my business to potentially maybe hire someone else to do some of that work, so I can focus on some of this other business building and this real large goals that I have. So that's one aspect of freedom. And then obviously freedom maybe in my personal life that, put myself in a situation where I've invested, or whether I've saved, or whether I've paid down loans, to put myself in a position where maybe I take longer periods of time off, where maybe I don't need to take as high a wage, but I can take that time off to then spend time with family or go on holidays, etc. So to me, that's what freedom means to me when it comes to money motivation. So it'd be interesting if people feel like that matches, their profile as such. The next one is an interesting one, and it's achievement. So a lot of money is linked to rewards for something. And it's a reward for you. I don't know if a reward is the right term, but going to work, you get paid for your time, your skill set. Whether it's investing, people get an investment return, and all of this can come with a sense of achievement. So I think this is actually quite a big one for me. Is that money sometimes it's not the money that actually is motivating me to go, oh, I need more money, because that's not what motivates me. But it's that sense of achievement that it's like, oh, I've done the investment, and I can see that investment growing, and I feel like that's successful, and it's returning. Maybe I've picked a good investment, or I've picked a good project to back, and I go, oh wow, that's a sense of achievement that I've done research and something's paid off. Or it might be when you're working for someone and you get that pay rise, and it's that sense of achievement that your hard work has got you to another thing. And achievement's probably not the be all and end all, because it links into some of these other things I'm talking about. But it's that achievement to go, wow, I succeeded. I worked hard to get something, and the money was a side effect of that achievement. Or it could be, you start a business, and those, you send out that first bill to that first customer, and you go, wow, this, and they pay you, and you go, wow, I actually got paid for my skills, or for my idea, for my service. And that can be a sense of achievement, and you want to grow a really big business, not because you want to get rich off it. It might be just you want to grow a business because you want to achieve and you want to succeed in what you're doing. I think we as humans really like the sense of achievement, and we like that, that well done that you give yourself when you know that you've worked hard and something has played out how you wanted it to, or might even gone better than what you wanted it to. So again, I'll link it back to myself personally, is that this is probably a really key thing with money for me, is that I really like the sense of achievement of achieving something. I've always been, a numbers person, so ticking something off, and I'll have a list of things I got to do for the day, and that ticking it off is a really good feeling to me, because I know I'm achieving things, or clearing my inbox out. Those things are a sense of achievement. And obviously within a business, therefore, me hitting a revenue goal or hitting a profit goal is a sense of achievement. It's not necessarily too concerned about, oh, well, this is how much money I've made. It's about that sense of, wow, I've achieved something. I've got X amount of clients, so I've done this. So that's some of the really exciting things to me when it comes to achievement. I think that definitely is one of the motivations. Maybe this one's a little bit of a side one. Maybe it's not the motivation behind the money, but it's the money that is attached to the motivation of achieving things. So I think that's an interesting one. So I've got a comment here. So income in most cases comes as a result of sacrifice, normally time for a job or capital for investments. And that's it. You're giving something up of yourself, like I said. So whether it is, quite often, the easiest way to think about this is, okay, when you give up your time and you go to a job. And that's a real basic way to look at it. But, you're pretty much selling your time. You're going, okay, well, I'm going to dedicate my time to this person's business, or it could be, not-for-profit, etc. But I'm dedicating my time, and in return, I get a monetary reward. And I suppose that's where you want to link that. You want to take some of that link of, okay, I'm just selling my time for money, to go, well, what am I achieving out of my work? And then that money becomes a secondary thought. And again, it goes into capital for investments. Well, again, you're sacrificing your capital. You're putting down your hard-earned money into an investment and hoping that'll grow. So, in shares, it's more in depth than this, but in general, the initial shareholding raised, they raise share capital, and that allows that business to invest that capital. But you're putting your money by laying down your money into those shares, hoping that they do that work on your behalf and you receive something in return. But again, it comes back to, well, is that a sense of achievement to you? Have you achieved something by, investing your money? And it might not necessarily be by saying, well, I picked a good investment. You might just invest in an index fund, for instance. But it's that, okay, well, I've worked hard, I've got that money, I've done that. And then that reward, that motivation is that I know that I'm going to get that achievement of seeing an investment return, for instance. So I think achievement's a really interesting area, maybe slightly different to these other two, because it's kind of linked to money, but not behind the money as such. So, and then the third one, and again, none of these are worse or better than the others. So just because you're motivated one way when it comes to money doesn't make you think you should feel bad. And this is the one that I think a lot of people, gets a bit of a bad stigma, that people go, oh, all you care about is money, or, you just want to be rich, etc. But you know what? If that's what motivates someone personally, that is their own personal decision. Like I said, it doesn't mean that, if that is all that motivates them, guess what? That's their own choice. Like I said, for me, I have a combination of all of these. So what I mean by lifestyle and riches is that some people do have that motivation to live the rich lifestyle. They want to have the flashy cars, the flashy house, flashy watches, flashy phones, technology, etc. But just turn around and tell someone, well, that's silly of them, or that's wrong of them. That's their own choice. Again, that might be what motivates them. And that might be, they might be 60% this, 20% freedom, 20% achievement. That's, again, up to them how that all ties in together. But again, so what I'm saying about this one is some people are motivated via lifestyle. So they want to have that lifestyle to, go on those lavish holidays and stay at the 5-star hotel rather than something lower. They want to, drive around in that fancy car. They want to, wear the designer brand clothes. They want to have the, high-end technology. They want to have the big six-story house. Well, that's a bit big, but 6-room house, multi-story house on the beachfront. Like that might be what motivates them. And if that's what motivates them and they're doing good for the world, they may be running a business that, solving a lot of problems, or they may have, built up their skills. So they have this really high skill set that, their skills are contributing. They may be a doctor. They may be, a lawyer that helps, people, and they're going into these high-end fields and they're putting and that's what motivates them. They want to be rich. They want to be rich and they want to live the lifestyle. And I think that's perfectly fine for some people. It might not be what motivates all of us, but people can have that. There's nothing wrong with, wanting to work towards getting something to buy something. I talk about on this channel about, well, don't waste your money and things like that. And obviously money savings. But at the same time, I don't think there's wrong with people that then go and do spend money when they've worked hard to earn it. It's probably something I don't do as much. My business has been really successful over the last few months, but I'm not a lavish spender. So sometimes maybe I don't reward myself enough. And maybe that's what might motivate some people. They think, oh, well, if I go and, go and buy something that's going to help and that's going to make them feel like they've achieved something, that's going to give them that freedom. And maybe that ties all of these things in together. So I think it is an interesting, sorry, just adjusting my mic. I think it is another way that's potentially, and I think it's probably out of the three of them, freedom, achievement, and then the lifestyle things that probably gets the worst stigma because people, so I think sometimes it comes from jealousy. People just, they want to hate on people that are successful and they go, oh, they're rich, they should give their money back. Like, I think sometimes I don't really understand that mindset because, just because someone else succeeded doesn't mean that has to come at the expense of your own success. So that's just a few things I want to talk about tonight about, when it comes to motivations behind money and how it's not just all lifestyle and riches that people want. People do it for a sense of achievement or a sense of freedom. And I think that's why I really would recommend people go and watch that video I did with What is FIRE, Financial Independence, Retire Early. And go give that a watch and have an understanding of, some of the different approaches people are taking to life and how they're going, well, I don't want to work for 50 years. I want to retire after 20. And how do I get to that stage? I think and a lot of these people aren't necessarily earning hundreds of thousands of dollars. I think people do this, incomes of 50 or 60 grand a year, and they've just been really savvy with the way they've invested or the way they've spent to get to that goal. So it's an interesting aspect of going, well, I'm going to take a different approach to life. And I think that's, something that's really interesting. So that were the topics I had for tonight. I did have one question that did come through, so I will jump into that. If anyone does have any question, leave them in the comments. And then after I go through this question, if anything comes through, and if not, I'll give you a bit of an update. What's happening in my world, what's happening on the channel, etc. So the question I got was quite an interesting one. So things a massage therapist can claim that aren't obvious. So any kind of business, no matter what it is, whether it's a massage therapist or something else, there's always going to be those obvious things. And I know the question is saying what is, the things that aren't obvious, but you want to make sure you're hitting those obvious things first. I talk about that all the time on the channel is that, the easiest way to save on tax is claim legitimate deductions. So you want to go, okay, what is a legitimate deduction for my business and have I spend it and then go, okay, I want to make sure I nail all them to start with. So nail them to start with and that'll be the easiest way. But, massage therapist, let's go, okay, massage therapist, let's go someone that's working from a shop. So, you're going to have the obvious of, your rent, your electricity and gas. But then it's going to be a thing to, okay, well, are you traveling? Have you got a mobile massage therapy where you go to clients, etc., and you're going out to see them, and then therefore, okay, do you have motor vehicle expenses, or do you have to go get supplies? So I think car is something people often forget. They are using their car within their business. There's not many businesses that you just drive to the place, especially if you're the owner, and that's the only place you go. You're quite often going to other bits and pieces. It could be things like training courses. So, I only spoke to someone recently that was doing some kind of healthcare thing, and they forgot that, oh, hang on, I've spent $3,000 or $4,000 on a training course to, keep their CPD points up or skill set up. So that's a really easy one that I think people can forget, is that no matter what you're doing, if you've got a service-based business, are you doing ongoing training? And then it could be incidentals, massage service. Do you have massage oils and things like that? Replacements of whether it's bedding or whether it's sheets and those kind of consumables you've got, all those kind of things you want to think about and go, am I spending something for my business? Therefore, is it claimable? And I just think you want to ask yourself that with a lot of things. And, map out, go, okay, what do I do Monday to Friday from, 9 o'clock to 7 o'clock or whatever when you finish work, and go, what's all the things I do? What are those things that I do that cost money? And therefore, am I making sure that I'm capturing them from a business point of view? Especially if you had a massage therapist that works from home. Are you capturing any home office expenses, for instance? Like, there's lots of different things that you might be going, oh, well, if you're starting to think, what's all the things I do? And then doing that. So I've got a comment here. So I was able to claim chocolate as treats to my massage customers, had okay from the okay as it was infrequent purchase. And again, so what, again, that's its thing. You can track that back to, well, what am I doing within my day? Am I spending money on something? And again, that happens in a lot of industries. Have you got lollies or chocolates or small things, tea, coffee that you're offering to clientele, to customers when they come into an office, when they come into a therapy room, for instance? And that's going to go, again, it's likely going to go, yep, that's claimable. Again, everyone's situation is going to be different. I always obviously have to go back to that. But that's a really interesting one. There's a unique one. I'm claiming chocolate as treats. There you go. So again, I think that's the easiest way to try and capture everything, is to start thinking about, just think of 1 week. What's everything I did that week? Did I spend money on something? And therefore, is it claimable? And not everything might be. That lunch you went for with your partner that was completely not business related might not be. But starting to think of that and, capturing those things, that I think the other side to this whole thing of, well, what's not obvious, but it's having a system in place to capture the obvious. I know that might sound obvious, but, having that system in place is really important. So there'll comment here from Chris. So great topic, mate. Always love listening to your insights and thoughts. I'll catch up later. So like I said, Chris is going over to his own channel to do a live. So I'm not sure what tonight's topic is, but head over there, check his channel out. He has some great content over there. So yeah, that was the question I had. So if anyone does have any other questions, leave them in the comments while I start to wrap things up and have a bit of a chat about what else is going on in the channel. So I haven't been as active on these lives as recently. They probably haven't been getting the support I was hoping. So it's not to say I appreciate everyone that has tuned in, but the thing that keeps these things going is the interaction with the people. So, people do ask questions. I really enjoy it. It's really hard for me to sit here and talk for half an hour to myself. So that's what really drives me with these lives, is the more, questions I can get through the week. So send me a question during the week and go, what's your question? And go, look, do you want, cover it on the live? And then I will. So that's something. I do have a question here. So do I need an ABN to be a day trader in crypto? Is that classed as a business? So it's been an interesting one, like that side of things. So if you're trading, you're running a business of trading, then yes, go and get yourself an ABN. There's nothing wrong. ABNs don't cost anything. Go to the abr.gov.au, Australian Business Register, and get yourself an ABN if you feel like you meet the requirements on there, or list out the requirements of who needs an ABN. But if you're running a business, you want to have an ABN. Now, there is some flexibility there with trading. You can get away with not having one, but I don't think it necessarily hurts to have an ABN. If you meet the criteria, check that criteria. If it doesn't cost you anything, again, don't get fooled into one of these sites that, pretend to be the ABR. Go through the ABR site, which is not going to cost you anything. Get yourself an ABN. But most of all, if you're running a day trading business, something where people go wrong is forgetting to include their expenses. So, if they're using their phone to day trade, if they're using their computer, if they're paying for courses, if they're paying for software, for hardware, etc., make sure you're capturing all those costs, because those costs are going to help reduce your income. Hopefully if you're day trading, you're making a lot of money, and then therefore you're going to want to be able to claim those legitimate expenses. It comes back to what we talked about with the massage therapy thing, that, claiming legitimate expenses is the easiest way to save on tax. So hope that's helped. So what I was talking about is, again, I had a week and a half off there of YouTube, so I'm trying to get back into pumping out videos again consistently. I've got lots of crazy stuff coming up over the next few months. Appreciate that. Very good. Thank you. All good. Appreciate the question. I love the questions. It's what really motivates me. But so for those that haven't checked out, I did a video the other week about my wedding that's coming up. So that's in early January. So that's only 2 and a bit months away now. So I think 2 months is today when I fly over interstate for that. So that's coming up very quickly. And then after that, I've got lots of exciting things that I'll be able to share with you going forward. I've got a new series that will hopefully be coming out that will feature some guests. So hopefully the first episode will be being recorded hopefully next Tuesday, all going to plan. So that's exciting. I'm not sure when it will come out. I'm just playing around with a few ideas about how to release that. I think that's going to be really exciting because I think it's going to open up some really good conversations with some really interesting people on their thoughts around money, on tax, on businesses and stuff like that. So I'll be delving into a range of people running a range of different businesses through to things like crypto mining, crypto investing, general investing, doing jobs they love. I'll give away the title is going to be Unique Wealth Building, I believe, at this stage. And it's just going to be diving into some unique approaches people have to bettering themselves money-wise. And again, all of that's going to come back to motivations. Is it freedom? Is it lifestyle? Is it achievement? What motivates them? And talking about that and how that's developed into maybe chasing a passion that they love or monetizing a passion. So that's something I'm going to get into. I've got a really exciting project that I have no idea how to actually do it. It's in my head of what I want to do. It's now putting the groundwork onto how that's all going to lay into each other. So that's exciting. So I do appreciate everyone that's tuned in. I'm going to wrap things up there for tonight. As I said, get in touch if you've got any questions. Go and check out some of the other content over on my YouTube channel. Appreciate you for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon.